See, elements and principles of art is extremely important. The other day we did composition of elements of composition art, right? Now, elements of art and principle of art is very similar to composition elements, and some of them are same also. Okay, but the reason we need to know what are elements of art and what are principles of art, because that is what you will start looking in your artwork, that what is missing and what is there and how it should be arranged. So we will begin with elements of art. So basically, we all know what is an art, right? Art is nothing but the painting or the artwork that is presented in a complete form. And in order to make an artwork complete, all the 7 elements and all the 7 principles of art should be present. If you search Google, you will get 10 elements, you will get 23 principles, but those are the elements and principles which have been split, like subdivided. But the main elements are 7 and main principles are 7. Okay. So the 7 elements of art are line, shape, form, color, space, texture and value. Okay, these are the main 7 elements of art. Now if you see, they all are related to value. Value is the same thing that value chart and the shadows and everything that we did. Okay, now if you see, all these 7 are related to each other. Okay, if I have to begin with line, if you don't have a line, you cannot get a drawing. Right? So anything, and anything can be a line, if I have to say. So if I just draw like this, yeah. So even this is a line, even this is a line, even this is a line. So anything that moves from one point to other is a line. Okay? So because line is something that is endless. It starts from one dot and it keeps on going unless we want it to come and end something. Unless we give it a shape or something. Otherwise it is always it will just keep going empty. Like, otherwise it will just keep going straight or whichever way we are taking it. So line is something that is that calculates your or spans a distance through a range of moving points. Okay, and we generally give 2 points. If I have to talk in general and layman's language, then we take 2 points. Starts from 1 point and ends at 1 point. Now that's a line. Now in order to start a drawing, we need to have a line. Otherwise, you cannot get it. Okay, so that is line. Line is also sometimes called strokes when it comes to digital art. Okay, when it comes to digital artwork, line is also called strokes. I don't know why, but it is called. Okay. Right. Now after line, the second one is shape. It is the line with which we get a shape. What's a shape? Shape.
Different dimensions, different angles, or circular or curve.
So different dimensions, different closed figures are shaped, which we again get with the help of lines.
No, that's it.
Sorry. So if I join these lines, if I join this line, I can get a
triangle, quadrilateral, circle.
Anything that joins. Now this will not be considered a line because it is not joined. I mean, this will not be considered a shape because it is not joined. Unless this comes and meets, then it will be considered a shape. Okay? So this is shape, and shape is, please make a note, shape is a 2-dimensional drawing. Okay? Shape is a 2-dimensional drawing. And a 3-dimensional which is flat. So any 2D, because in a 2D drawing we generally just see, so if I have to draw a square have to draw a square here. Like that is going like this. Still no. So in square what we see is only 4 points. What we get is only the length and the breadth. That's it. We don't get anything else. And we really don't know that what it is in reality. This can be the front portion if a triangle is kept laying down. It can be a cuboid also, which maybe is appearing like a square here, but it can actually be a cuboid behind. Or it can be a cube also, or it can also be a pyramid. Or it can also be a cone. So this just gives you a basic idea of beginning of your drawing. Okay. Now I also said that a 3D drawing which is flat. Now which 3D drawing is flat? Or which 3D shape is flat? Square and all flat.
Yeah. So
In order to make it 3D,
cuboid.
no, in order to make a square into 3D or a rectangle into 3D, we have to add random lines.
Yeah.
Correct. So if I do a square here and I have to make it into cube, I'll have to add lines like this. Right? So I'll have to add lines. But if I have to make one particular shape without adding any kind of lines, it can also be considered a 3D shape. Sphere. Any circular object. Because unless we add values to it, the shadings to it, we don't know whether it's a flat ball or it's a flat surface or it's a round surface. So sphere or any circular object is considered to be 3D flat drawing, which is a part of shape as well as a part of form. Okay. No 2D object can be form. Mostly. Okay. Mainly 2D objects are considered to be shapes because they just give you the basic dimension, that is only the length and the breadth. That's why even when we draw anatomy, in that also we first start with just the shapes. We break everything into shapes and then we go ahead and let it up. Please put it on silent. And if the call is important, you can take it, but put it on silent. Okay. Now if I have to come to form. Now we got line. With line we were able to create shapes. Now after shape, we have to now convert our drawing into a form. Because unless it is converted into a form, we cannot add values or textures or anything else. Correct? I mean, I just can't draw a round for a flower vase. Now I have to give it a proper form. I have to draw the rounds, I have to draw the handles, and the handle should have the extra double line, the inside lines and all. Right? So now, if I have this square here, okay, and I make this into a cube. Okay. So the moment it becomes a cube, it is a form. Okay. And if I have a triangle here, and if I add this line over here separately, it can be a part of a pyramid. Okay, if I make a cone here, this also becomes a form because here I am avoiding this was my straight triangle line which I first had. Okay, so then this becomes a cone, a pyramid, or whatever. So for all these things I have to add extra lines wherever required based on the angle in which I am looking at it. So the form will be created with the help of the angle in which we are looking at. Okay, but when it comes to a circle or anything that is round, I don't have to add any lines to it. But if you are doing a rock, okay, but if I am doing a rock which can be like this, in order to show this, these are called organic shapes. This will be considered like a 2D shape, but I can add extra lines to it showing the other side of the rock, which is behind and which is in front. Because rocks are again little edgy. They are not always circular. They are called random shapes or organic shapes. Okay? So this is the your line, form and shape. The next is color. Now color is something that enhances the beauty of your drawing. If there's, and when I say color, color means everything. Shading, pencils, whichever and whatever medium we use. Okay. Now color is something that enhances the beauty of your artwork. Okay. Now how is color seen? How do we get to see the color? How do we get to see the color? Through our eyes, definitely. But how? What makes our eyes look at those colors?
Attraction.
Attraction. What gets us attracted? The light. If it's a dark room, everybody appears to be in the same color cloth. That is black. But the moment light is turned on, the light strikes the object. And then that light reflects back to our eyes, which then gives us the idea that which is what color. And based on that, we start adding color to our objects. Okay. Once you've got the line, you've got the shape, you've got the form, you started adding color. But after color, you have space. Now here, space is positive and negative. And space also includes middle ground, background, and foreground. Four is like white. The other is somebody good at you are. So space mainly, there are mainly two kinds of space, right? Positive and negative that we learned in the composition. But that positive and negative includes middle ground, foreground, and background. Background is the background we all know. Foreground is the primary object. Middle ground is the secondary objects. So in positive space you have got two grounds, primary object and secondary objects, which is foreground and middle ground. Okay, and background is the negative space. Now based on which is your primary object, which is your middle ground, which is your background, your color is done based on that. You just don't color wherever you want, right? That we used to do in kindergarten. Now since we're learning, so we will go as per the techniques that it should be and where it should be dark and light, right? So once the color is done, space is allotted, now you come to texture. Texture in general means touch and feel, right? Now if you are drawing a tortoise, you have to show that its body shell is hard. You can't paint it or shade it like a Pomeranian dog, soft hair. Then the feel is wrong. Your drawing should basically give the feeling to the viewer that yes, this is a hard shell. If you're drawing an anatomy of a woman and she has beautiful and silky hair, then your smudging, your shading, your coloring should bring out that silkiness in her hair. If the dress is a satin, glowy dress, then your coloring should bring out that shine. If you're doing a metal, you should bring out that metallic effect in that. But if it's a grassy land, then you have to bring that edginess of the grass. And if it's long haze, you have to bring out that. So the texture we have to, since if you touch a painting, you cannot see, you cannot feel that roughness. But that feel to the eye of the viewer should be achieved, should be attained. Okay, so when I say texture, texture is all about furriness, edginess, rockiness. So basically how the object feels. So if you want to write, you can just write it like, texture is, a basic definition that goes is, texture is used to describe the object more and how curly hair, it's a rough hair, then that roughness has to be seen. When you're drawing a rock, you have to bring that rocky effect, you have to bring that edginess. If you're doing a crocodile, you have to get that edgy, rocky, rough sharpness. If you're drawing a fish, you have to bring that slippery and scaly effect. So all that. If you're drawing a house with tiles, you have to show that each tile is different and it's like that stony impact. But if it's just a normal painted like nowadays we have, then you have to bring that smooth texture. Okay. The next is value. Value, I think we all know. I don't need to explain that. You can also describe value as the degree of lightness and darkness, in an artwork. It's the degree of lightness and darkness in an artwork. So once you've identified the lightness and the darkness, then you know whether it's a highlight or it's a mid-tone, or it's a cast shadow, or on cast, do I have bounds, or is there somewhere blending of the two tones, and all that. Value can be value can also be understood with one more term. What term can be that? If you look at something and immediately it comes to your mind, yeah, this is light and dark. Which term defines that light and dark?
I know.
It's very easy term. Starts with C, and you are a hint.
Cast shadow.
No. You answer.
Cool. Sorry, what was the question again?
So there is one more term, just one term, which can be used in order to say that yeah, this is light, this is dark.
Hue?
Contrast.
Contrast. Yes. Because like right now I am in totally no contrast. Adya is in complete contrast. Kirtana is in complete contrast. Right. So the moment you see, so you know that okay, the top part is dark, the bottom part is light. So that contrast, and then you start seeing the degree of it, and what amount of darkness is there, whether it's becoming in which thing. So these are the 7 elements of art. Any doubt till here? Now let's come to the principles of art. So all the 7 elements are understood. So if you see, they all are related to each other, and it is going step by step. It's like first you get the line, then you get the shape, then form, then you start adding colors. While adding color, you also making the space. Then with the space, you have to also make sure that the texture is coming, and then you final touches very quickly. Okay. Now, 7 principles of art are balance, contrast. I'll just give this. Yeah, movement is one of them. Emphasis, movement, pattern, rhythm, unity / variety. Unity / variety. Variety. Like unity and variety. Okay. Now we all know what is a balance. The other day we discussed about symmetry and asymmetry. Now there is one more kind of balance. So there are basically 3 kinds of balance: symmetry, asymmetry, and radial.
Radial.
Radial, R-A-D-I-A-L. Okay, radial balance. Now, symmetry is complete mirror image. Whatever you have on this side of the center point, you should have the same exact thing in the same position. Right? It has to be like a complete mirror image. And the best example of artwork for symmetrical drawing that comes in my mind is when you are doing a still life. Because what is in front of you, you have to exactly do that. And you have to also make sure that the placement is also same. You have no option of making any changes in it. So a still life study is exactly what you see you do. So you're basically doing a mirror image in your space of work that is provided. Right? So that is the best example of a symmetrical, balanced joint. Asymmetry. Asymmetry, we know we don't have to have a mirror image. We don't have to have the exact items on both the sides. But here we distribute the weight equally. The distribution of weight has to be equal. Now I can have 10 oranges this side on my left side, and I can have 2 oranges and a glass of orange which will be of equal weight of 10 oranges. Now here 10 oranges can be scattered, but here the 2 orange and 1 glass of juice can be kept together also. But the weight should be balanced. Best example for this is nature study. If you think of a landscape, let's go with the basic landscapes that we often learn, with a mountain, with houses, with fences and river flowing. Mountain is the heaviest object in that nature drawing. But are we drawing mountain below also? We cannot. But in order to get that weight and balance the weight of mountain, we have so many other objects underneath. We have houses, we have river, we have tree, we have fences, we have animals, we have we have vehicles. So whatever can add up together with the balance to balance mountains weight. Otherwise your drawing will be falling off. Like basically if I put this over here and I leave this here, it won't be balanced. Definitely one side will fall off. So that's why it has been balanced properly. Okay, and in fact, this window can work for all the 3 examples, for all the 3. If I little bit move this here, but I also have one more beam over here. Okay, and this side I increase the weight of this one. It will still stand together. So this becomes asymmetry. But right now I have equal, it becomes proper symmetry. Wherever this is here, it is exactly over here. So this becomes symmetry. This also will be for radial symmetry. Radial symmetry is equally spaced objects. Best example, architectural drawings. Now, in a building, let's say we have a corridor. We're saying that we have in schools and offices and all, right? We have a corridor. Now, every corridor, you'll see pillars are at equally spaced, right? Now, if I suddenly remove one pillar from between, and then I make the other 2 pillars very close, do you think the place where I have got sudden gap, will that wall on top, the ceiling on top, will be able to stand there as it is? It will slowly start bending and it may fall down. Because this support that this heavy wall needs, the heavy ceiling needs, it's not getting in between, which it is getting in other places. So if it doesn't get in one place, it will start sinking slowly. Railway tracks, the next example, the slabs which is kept underneath the tracks. If it is not spaced equally, the train will derail. Because the train is a heavy thing, it needs to have something heavy underneath to hold it on it so that it can keep running smoothly. So architectural drawings, landscaping, when I say landscaping, this landscaping is a part of architecture. Landscaping drawings and all are part of good example for radial symmetry. Okay, the next one is contrast. I think this we all know what a contrast is. We just understood by doing value. Okay. Next is emphasis. Now, what do you understand by emphasis?
Give more weightage to something that comes out a lot more.
Something that comes out a lot more, okay? Kirti, you try.
Giving something more prominence.
Giving something more prominence. So basically in an artwork, when something immediately grabs your attention.
Something which connects.
Something. Because even in positive space also you may have 2-3 objects. Right? But there will be one object which will immediately get you. And with that attention one grabs, it starts taking the viewer into your drawing. And then it starts moving the eye of the viewer in every direction that you want the viewer to look at your drawing. So the emphasizing point in your drawing, in your artwork is very important. If I could just read the definition kind of thing, then it is when the artist creates an area of composition that is visually dominant and commands the viewer's attention. It is that one area where the artist is creating that place, that space in its drawing. Where it is dominating everything and it is commanding that you look at me. So sometimes we see that this drawing is like, as if it's talking to you. So that is what has been able to get that emphasis point. Okay. The next one is movement. Now once you've got the emphasis, obviously you know that the viewer is stuck here. Now that point, say from that particular point, the viewer's eye will start moving in your artwork. And it will move the way you want. Okay? Now how do you create movement? One is you take the viewer's eye where and what you want him or her to see. Now this is created by the direction of your coloring shade. The direction of coloring and shade. How? Now let's say the wind is blowing from your right to left. So if there are a lot of trees and leaves are falling. So if the wind is blowing from right to left, your leaves will be falling on the left, your tail will fall on the right. So the direction of your coloring should also move from right to left. And the shape and the form of your leaf should also be in that falling from right to left. It cannot just fall vertical. It cannot fall horizontal. It has to go in this kind of direction. Because it's a leaf, it's a curvy kind of a object. Right? Now if it's anything straight, like a building, when the buildings fall, and let's say the pressure is on this side, so the building will be tilting like. So you have to show the tilt on that side. That will give the impact that yes, everything is coming this side. If the wind is blowing randomly, like when it happens in thunderstorm, everything blows here and there. So you have to create that chaotic situation in your art, where some things are flowing here, some things are flowing there, and then when you show the wind, that gust of the wind, that also you show in the circular way. You are not showing it only from right to left or left to right, you're showing it in the circular way. So when you're showing it in the circular way, that is when you have everything flowing here and here. Makes a complete artwork and it makes sense out of it. Otherwise, if your wind is blowing straight, your things cannot just go here. Right? Like when the fan is turned on in our houses. Fan goes full. That's why clothes just go like this. But when we put a table fan, then everything goes that's it. Depending on wherever the table fan is being placed. So the movement will be shown with the help of your direction of your drawing and coloring sheet. And it is very important. And this is where the two elements of art plays very important role is the shape and the form. Because if your shape is wrong, your form will be wrong. If you've got the shape correct, then you get the form also in the right direction. Okay? The next one is pattern. It's the easiest thing. You have to maintain a pattern. Now let's see if you bring a pattern, right? But every drawing has got a pattern. You just can't suddenly change a design anywhere you want. You have to continue up to a particular range and then you change that. I mean, suddenly I'm going thick line, and I want a circle. So if I've done that, two thick line, and one circle, then I better continue with that. I then just cannot start with circles. And then suddenly, oh, I forgot I had to do thick line. It cannot do that. That will not look good to the viewer's mind. Right? Viewer will think, what is it? It's like all haywire going here and there. So you have to make sure that the viewer sticks in front of your arm. So this is the thing. Okay, so you have to maintain that pattern. Just like in geometrical patterns we do. Geometrical pattern also we make, then we finish that and then we change the pattern. Or if we are changing a pattern, then the change of the pattern is shown very gradually if it is in the same line. It is shown in a very gradual change. It just does not change. Right? Next is rhythm. We had discussed this during composition also. It's like you just can't suddenly sing a high note and then come back. And you just can't suddenly. The best example would be the kindergarten drawings that we used to do. Small house, such a big human being. A human being used to always be very big, and we always had this very thin triangle mountain. That's not a composition, that's not enough. That was a fun. Okay, but and if you put that up, anybody will say, oh, this is a kid's drawing. And they just walk. It may be pleasing to the eye, but it's not considered as an art. Okay, so you have to make sure that the rhythm is in the house is at the right place. The movement is there. And that movement and the pattern of the movement will create the rhythm. You just can't suddenly have one dead tree in between when you have everything green. If you have a dead tree, then there has to be a reason. Then you have to show maybe some fire, or maybe you have to show that the trees are being cut and other trees are in the verge of getting cut. You have to create a story for your drawing. That is how the rhythm will work. Okay. And the last one is unity and variety. Now, our drawings have got a lot of variety. It has got a lot of colors, it has got a lot of objects. If you insert too many things in your work, don't you think it becomes very chaotic? And if you do everything same, only orange, and all the oranges are of the same color, no values, no different shades, nothing, no texture, don't you think it's pretty monotonous? I mean, if I right now teach, okay, we will do principles of art and elements of art, and then after that we will do this. Would you be listening to me? Obviously no. So you have to have a modulation while you are teaching. So same thing, your drawing should also have that ups and downs. It has to have that modulation in it, which will make sense. You just can't have 10 oranges, all looking the same, no value changes, no shades, and everything is like full neon orange. You will say, how am I looking at this? That's the reaction that comes. And keep yourself in the viewer's position and imagine. Right? So it becomes very monotonous. And if too many things, then it becomes very chaotic. Then it becomes like a crowd which makes no sense. Basically what happens when any girl meets with an accident and public is all. Nobody is helping, but it's a full chaos. Nobody knows what's happening. Everybody is shouting at the same time. So you cannot have too much of any of these. But you need to have both in your artwork. You need to have variety in your artwork. You need to have unity in your artwork. If both are missing, then it's not a complete artwork. Okay? So the 7 elements and 7 principles will help you get the correct composition, the good quality composition. And once you've got the good quality composition, which again has those 8 elements, that 7, 7, 8, you have been able to present a wonderful artwork for your viewer. Any doubt? Any question?
Is there a sentence which can describe rhythm?
Yeah, definitely. So rhythm is created by movement applied to the repetition of elements of art in a non-uniform but an organized way.
Like a repetition?
Implied through the repetition of elements of art. We see the lines, the shape form, the shape, okay, in a non-uniform manner but organized.
For unity and variety, we can take example of Arshita's tree, which had
Yes.
with the birds. That's what I remember. Because she was showing different faces of birds.
Correct.
At the same time, the birds were of same color.
Yes, I think I have that too. Whereas the trees were all more or less same in color. Yeah, this one. Right?
Right.
This one. So here, like you have colors also, but if everything and every bird and every leaf would have been same, then it would have become very monotonous. And if too much of bird also, which you were thinking initially, should I add everything? And even over here at the bottom you said I'll let go few things. Otherwise it would have become too many things. Like it would have become like everything is there but nothing is understood. It would have become like a chaotic kind of situation. So yeah, this is the best example for it. Good. Any other doubt?